Yay! Okay, so talk to the animal, today's teaser in a way. So I'm really happy to have you, Debs.
I'm really delighted to be here and to tease everyone.
Yeah, energetically.
Yeah.
And probably verbally too. So yes, here we are to talk to the animals, but also about I don't know, a lot of things that we can receive from the earth and the planet. I don't know what else is possible.
Yeah, what else is possible that we've never considered before? Like walking in nature
Mm.
and having that space. And
And,
what if you could have that space without having to walk in nature also?
and before we dive really deeply into that, I think like some of you are probably seeing you and me for the first time. So maybe probably
Good point.
it would be nice if I at least like I hear a little bit about you, like you and the animals, or like about you and your animals, probably, or your experience with animals, or what else.
Yeah, well, I just adore animals. I love animals. I have 2 cats, Pasha and Luna. They're brother and sister. And just ever since I was a child, I've just bought books about animals, always birds and just flying and being in the sea, just all animals, going to the zoo. Not so much now because that's not so much fun. But just being fascinated with animals and having that communion with them has always, yeah, it's really been an amazing part of my life, and it's such a contribution. I'm so grateful. And yeah, and it's fun to be here. And I met Emma on Symphony of Possibilities class with Dane in Paris in November 2019, and we've kind of been playmates since then.
Yeah.
And it's, Emma, you are such a contribution, honestly. It was last, I can't even remember when it was, when you mentioned the Talk to the Animals intro class, and I popped on, and yeah, so that has really expanded even more my life and living. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for you, Debs. I mean, can't believe it's been, I don't know, 2 years since we met. And talking about animals, like I remember as a child, like I always loved animals like you did. And whenever I visit people's house, and if there's an animal, I talk to them and not to people. So I can avoid talking to people and then
Yeah.
just focus on the animals and don't have to talk to people. Like,
Yeah.
and like I'm not
Yeah.
talking to
So because there's so much crazy, I'm very aware there's so much crazy going on in so many houses, and yet make a
yeah.
beeline for the animal, and the animal seems to sense, oh, here's my clan sort of thing.
Yes, there is no light to the animals, and they're so straightforward in a way. Of course, some animals are quieter than the others, but they're pretty straightforward. And on the other hand, when you try to talk to people, then like they say something, and then they're thinking of something else in their mind, and I'm like, oh, I'm so confused as a child. So
Yeah.
okay, I don't want to talk to people anymore. So I was like that.
Yeah.
Yes, but well, my life has changed quite drastically last year since I became talk to the animal facilitator. Because until then, I knew that I could talk to the animals, but I didn't know this talk to the animal class expand my world, like in such a way that I have never imagined possible. And as Debs, you already know, I love horses, and but I wasn't admitting that I love horses before because I live in the center of Tokyo in the city, and I never thought I could play with horse in this kind of environment. So I just thought, okay, horses, not in my world. It has nothing to do with it because it's for people who live in the countryside and live in a farm, blah blah blah. So I got these limitations, and I thought like, okay, no horses. But after I started to do talk to the animal classes, I saw people with horses and big animals, and I was like, wow, and like, wow, such a beautiful world. And how can I have that in my life? And then
Yeah.
and I decided to ask, okay, so universe, how can I have big animals like horses in my life? And you know what happened? Like next day, I received this invitation from my credit card company saying, okay, free horseback riding. I was like, wow,
Ask and receive.
invitation ticket for the horseback riding for free. And I'm like,
You're fast, Emma. You're fast.
yeah, really fast. I'm like, what? So yes, and then I went to see the horses. And so what I usually do is, I'm sure you also do this. You introduce your own energy to the animals or people when you touch them. So that's what I did. I said, okay, hello horse. His name was Fever. So I said, Fever. So I said, hi Fever. I'm Emma. So let me touch you. And hi, how are you? And I just, lower my barriers and walls, and I touched him. And then this energy which came into my body was like, I don't know how to express in words, but it's just so dynamic and so beautiful, and just it filled up my body, and my body cells started to jump with joy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is
Joyful molecules in the body.
yeah, exactly. And that I could feel that horse's body was doing the same thing. So we're so
Wow.
happy with each other, being so present. And I was like, oh, I'm here not to just ride horses. I'm just here to exchange these energies and
Yeah.
play like this. And this itself is just so contributory. And what else is possible?
You know what occurs to me when you just said that, that energies met and like communion. I've recently rewatched, well, only for the second time, Avatar. And it was like when they connected with that it was when what you were describing there reminded me of that. And so what if that is possible? Well, it is possible. Yeah. What if we can have that as our reality?
And how does it get any better than that, actually?
How does it?
And so yes, my husband was with me, and he thought we were just gonna experiment this riding. But at the end of this horseback riding, we came back to the club, and they said, okay, how was it? It was great. And I said, okay. So I said, I'm gonna sign up and become a member. And he was like, what? He says, like, this is expensive. Don't you want to think about it? And I said, what is there to think about?
What is there to think about?
I
Right.
just love it. And I said, do you want to do it? And he's like, me, I don't know. And I said, I'll pay for it. And he says, okay, I'll join. We both joined. And eventually he said he's going to pay for himself and everything. But, it was so funny. And then I start to go once in 2 weeks, and then once a week. And from the end of last year, I started to go twice a week. And now I go 4 times a week.
Wow.
And the thing
And
is,
look at what that's, I mean, and so can you talk about then, I mean, because obviously some things, because you went from once a week to twice a week, now 4 times a week. So what has that created?
well, the thing is, it created so much space in my life. As you already know, I used to have so many meetings. And do you remember? Yes, I had so many meetings and client meetings, coaching sessions, blah, blah, blah. And we always said you can create time, and we go beyond time, but I had so many things to do and I was happy with it, but I didn't have so much space in my life. And I didn't think it was possible to have so much space because, we need to work. And of course I'm still working, but the thing is how can I put it? Not the number of hours you're working isn't equal to that amount of money you're.
Yeah, it's not linear.
It's not linear like that. And more space I have, and more, I play with energy, with horses and everything. Now I have more, potency to create, and which is, such a big. It shouldn't be surprised, but I'm surprised how it changed my life.
They're like, she asked for this. Now she's surprised.
Yeah. And then people think I'm just riding horses, and like every time people see my Facebook, oh, you're riding horses again, you're riding horses again. Like when are you working? And I'm like, well, I play and I work. I mean, my play is work. Everything's not linear like you see, and it's just, like, and then like
How much of that, like, oh, when do you work, is like kind of dragging you back into this reality rather than an expansiveness where it's really working for you and it's such a contribution?
I know.
What if that's the invitation that people can have?
Yeah, and then like I think it was I think it's just like but also like work has always been like play for me, and this workplace thing has started to become so joyful, and it's been joyful, but it's just so much joy, and like when you meet people, it's just like now, like when we meet, I'm just so filled up with joy, and I'm like so
Yeah,
happy and everything, and it's just this like how you receive energy has changed completely, so I'm just
yeah,
happy with everyone and every moment, and that's really really different from before. I think it's like in the past it was like, oh, okay, today I'm not so great, and like so energy is like just a little bit like below average, and I had such a day, but now every day is just like always so orgasmic and
yeah.
unstoppable.
How does it get any better than that?
Yeah, how does it get any better than that?
And so what is it then with the Talk to the Animals intro class that invites people to have more of that in their life?
What did you what did you gain, by the way? I just want to know like what you got from the class.
Well, I don't know about you, but whenever I've registered for a class, even if it's weeks away, it's kind of the class starts to contribute to you straight away. And whether that was actually happening or in my head or whatever, I became aware of all of the objects and pictures and everything in my house that were animal related. And pretty much I have animals everywhere, not real animals, but little ornaments or pictures or in every single room in my house apart from my 2 bathrooms, and I have no pictures in my bathroom. And I was like, oh wow, okay. It was just, and then I just started to receive more and become more aware and acknowledge the communion I have with animals and the capacities I have with animals. That was even before the class. And I can't even put into words what I received from the class. I'll try. it, it was like a download of communion and connection with everything, which I recognize I already had, but in it was less. So this was just, it was dynamically and exponentially increased that, and continues to do so the more and more I engage with it. And yeah, that orgasmic life and living. And even years ago, way before Access, I wasn't having the point of view that I had to be in nature in order to commune with nature. I could be on the tube in the middle of London, packed, and still have that space, even though it was like this.
Yeah.
I could still get to that space. I was really grateful for that. And so now that's just off the charts, kind of, I can be so much space. And with all the crazy going on for the last God knows how long, I don't even know what day it is. It's just, I'm just so grateful for me, for my choices, for Emma, for all the people that I've come into contact with, that I'm communing with, that I'm friends with, that I'm not friends with, everything. I wouldn't change a thing. And it's been a journey. It really has been a journey. So I think for anyone who, maybe you have animals, maybe you don't have animals, maybe you don't really feel that you have a connection with animals, maybe a bit scared of animals, would really be to ask the question, I wonder what this could create.
And also, like, this class would be great for anyone because it doesn't require any, what do you call it? Like the requirement, there's no requirement.
Prereqs, yeah, no prereqs, exactly.
And also,
And
I talked to some people, and some people say, like, I've been doing Access for years, but I'm still not asking questions, blah, blah, blah. And this class will enable you to use Access tools, because if you can't use Access tools, we won't be able to talk to the animals. And this would be great practice, actually. People start to ask questions more by participating in this class.
And also a practical kind of body processes, which you can use on your spouse, your friend, and yourself as well. And being in that question and just, there is something and kind of, it's like an opening. There's a possibility that's very gentle and just like the earth breathing, like, it's and it was really fun too.
It is fun.
Because you do get to meet people who do have animals on the call. Not everyone had animals, and then you just get to play and have fun and actually get to know what you are aware of. Because that's what I love about Access. It's not about telling you what to do. It's what do you know?
Yep, we already know, and we
exactly
haven't accessed yet. And there's so much out there. We still haven't seen it yet.
Truly. And what if you can use the tools to create communion, better connections with your family as well?
Yeah, actually, like, after I did talk to the animal classes, I started to have different relationship with my family, like with my
that's right.
just because they have kind of like given up or abandoned me when I started Access, because they thought
You're such a bad girl.
no, they thought I joined cult. And Gary would love that if I say this. But anyway, yes, they thought I joined cult. So they said, if I don't quit cult, they will never contact me again. And Alex like, what? And but I said, like, can I change this? And this is very, great question to use. Like, can I change this? And no was very, very light for me at that point. So I knew I couldn't change that at that time, like 3 years ago. So I didn't want to ponder something I couldn't change. So I just let it go. And I also asked, can I change this later? And the yes was light. So I thought, okay, so I'll wait. And then, I'm not going to think about it. And I'll just have great time without having them in my life. Because until then, they were always contacting me and everything.
Yeah.
So,
but also, what if it's not, when you said, and so I wait, and I know that's what you mean. And also, it's not about waiting, like, okay, but it's like being that space and of allowance to allow the universe, the molecule, whatever their points of view, whatever to change, whatever that serendipitous moment is, for it to present itself. That's what I love about, and that for me, because animals don't really have a point of view, although we project a lot onto our animals. That's like when you commune with Fever, it was just hi. And when you can be that and be that invitation and just everything, it's just like
and here comes
Luna.
Hi.
This is my girl doing an impersonation of a wolf.
Hello. Oh, how are you?
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm not going to be on screen today. Thank you very much. Yeah, so that it's it's such a yummy invitation. So
yes, and then like I said, like as you explained, I said like, okay, I'll wait, and then like this, like waiting doesn't mean like you stop your life. It's about just expanding your life, and nothing will stop you, that kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm continuing with my life, creating more, what else is possible. And I don't think it's just, and just to acknowledge the magic of that.
Mm-hmm. And we talked to the animal. I stopped stopping. I stopped stopping. It's just
Yeah. Some people would say, what, you used to stop, really?
I pretended that I stopped.
Exactly. Just to placate your husband. So he doesn't think you're crazier than you are already.
Oh yes. Yes.
But notice, like, I'm just laughing and happy, and the joy here.
Mhm.
And honestly, not so long ago, I would like be no
Yeah.
smiling. And, and I have to sort of like force myself to smile, like, fake it till you make it. And now it's like I have to sort of, okay, don't smile. I'm like, okay, I can't not smile. Well, I can, you know what I mean? But it's,
You mean,
wow, it's,
yes, because
life is great.
life is great. I tried to remember what you were like 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, you weren't smiling as much as you are right now. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
We can't stop laughing and smiling.
Yeah. And just really going back to the before the actual class and the contributions that I was receiving from the inanimate objects in my home, like, I don't know, like my whatever, it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
pictures of animals or little ornaments, whatever. And it was just, they became alive, as in I was just aware of a different energy, a different I was just receiving more.
Mhm.
So I think maybe in my choosing the class in that moment, it was serendipity. It was just like, now is the time, or now is the space, and I just started receiving more. And I think I've said this before, I've done quite a few access classes leading up to the Talk to the Animals
Mhm.
intro, and I think lots of humanoids, you maybe need to explain that, now I've said it. I all of the classes that are either downloads or teleclasses or things that I've bought, they're on my computer, on my phone or whatever, and I make myself, oh my God, I've not listened to that, I'm not putting that in place, and all this wrong. And I am using the tools, I was using the tools, and it was great. But with the class, it was like the whole download, it was just that everything fell into place, all the bits of the jigsaw puzzle that were a little bit off, that still weren't really, it was a lot better.
Mhm.
It was just, everything kind of came together and was like, boom,
Mhm.
similar to that energy that when you met Fever, that kind of,
Yeah.
so
And when you mentioned that, something was brought up in my world, and it was like, it's about interesting point of view. Before I did talk to the animal classes, it was sometimes difficult to me to have interesting point of view or no point of view at all at certain situation. But then, like, I
it
did.
wasn't for me. I was always great at that.
But then doing the talk to the animal class made it so easy to have no point of view about things.
Yeah.
And I think because, like, I'm now more connected to the animal and more seeing things more, might be seeing more from their point of views too. So like, I'm like, oh, okay, this is not relevant to me, so I don't care. It's like, I'm like,
Yeah.
so long as
Oh,
it pass by and I'm like untouched, and I don't get involved. So before I was more involved with a lot of things, but now I'm like, oh, okay, I don't care. It's not relevant to me. So Yes.
Exactly. Thanks for saying that, Emma, because for me, I would be, you know, like an empath, and you kind of, I feel myself pulled into situations. And now, and then making it somehow I've got to sort it out, and none of that's true or relevant. And so now I'm so much more ease.
Yeah.
I can just, if I find myself, ask myself a question, whose universe am I in? Right. Oh, okay. And just step out. And it's a muscle that I'm building. And but like you, it's just kind of just not relevant.
It's not relevant at all.
And for what reason would I pull myself out of joy into trauma drama? That's pretty stupid.
Yeah. But people can choose stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And it's great to have, I love that nothing is real, nothing is true. It's just an interesting point of view. So to even have that as to have no point of view about whether people choose it, don't choose it, be it a class or seeing client. Yeah, what if it's just being that space of irresistible invitation with no point of view whether people join you or not, because I'm carrying on anyway.
Yep.
I'm creating great, or I'm having fun. Who's coming?
Yes, it's amazing. And it's amazing that not to have point of view at all, and always to be able to have this interesting point of view. And I never imagined that I could be that.
Me either.
So yes, thank you, Talk to the Animal Class.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all the animals and the animal kingdom. And thank you, Emma, for being at the SOP in Paris.
Oh, yes. And
how did I get so lucky?
Well, thank you for coming to SOP in Paris.
And also just to talk to anyone out there who's listening or tuned into this. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
And what else is possible that you think is not possible, that if you allow the possibilities would actualize a totally different reality? What if you could trust you and be willing to be curious to know the gift that you truly be, that you're maybe not seeing right now?
And what if now is the time for you to open the door for the different possibilities with the animal kingdom? Are you ready to get the gifts from them?
And be the animal you truly be.
Yes.
And we are in the year of the tiger. Just saying.
Well, thank you so much, Debs. Yes, if you have any questions or requests about Talk to the Animal Class, please contact Emma or Debs on Facebook or whatever that way.
Yeah, you can put a link in at the bottom of the recording, a couple of links. Yeah. And at this stage, do we have a date for intro class, or a couple more of these?
And I think we'll figure out, we'll ask.
We'll ask. Yeah. Okay.
I'm like that. Ask and receive. I never do things without asking. So
yeah.
I ask first.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debs. Thank you, everyone. Adore you all.
Adore you. What else is possible?
Yes, what else is possible? Ciao, ciao.